Honda CG125, 1975 to 2008, review. Hugely popular learner-friendly 125. The Honda CG125 was launched way back in 1975 and served as the ultimate commuter bike for over 30 years. It's a 125 cubic centimeters learner-friendly machine and sold in huge numbers, amassing 10 million sales worldwide. Nowadays it makes a great starting point for a life on two wheels, or budget urban commuter with low running costs and typical Honda reliability. It's also become synonymous with custom motorcycle culture, with many now being snaffled up to become cafe racer and bobber projects. Ride quality and brakes. The best way to describe the Honda CG125's ride quality is bouncy, especially if ridden by a larger pilot. But that's okay, because only a complete madman would expect a Honda CG125 to handle anything like an Aprilia RS125, the most desirable sports 125 of the late 90s and early aughts. That said, it does the job, and CGs have been known to haul more than just a large rider to and from work elsewhere in developing countries. If you are on the hefty side, there is the option to jack up the preload on the rear twin shocks, which should help give a little more control. Engine. The air-cooled, overhead valve single-cylinder Honda CG125 motor plods on remarkably well, often with very little maintenance. In fact, you could probably run the thing on turnip juice for 1,000 miles without it suffering engine failure. The later 2004 onwards Honda CG125s have a vastly improved gearbox and slightly more power, but not much. Change the oil every 750 to 1,000 miles and it should return years of faithful motoring, something easily done thanks to the inclusion of a center stand and no fiddly bodywork to remove. Reliability and build quality. Okay, you need to run your motorbike on distilled chicken dung. No problem, buy a Honda CG125 and it will probably get you home. The Honda CG125 is, or at least was, the very definition of rugged reliability, although it's arguable that the original version had more durable cycle parts than later examples. Value versus rivals. Brand new, the Honda CG125 was an expensive motorcycle, especially when you consider how long Honda had been making it, and how cheaply the exact same bike retails in developing markets. Chinese manufacturers were able to produce Honda CG125 rivals 300 to 500 quid cheaper, but they lack Honda's dealer network or warranty backup. They are also far less commonplace than a Honda on the used market in the UK. Equipment. The layout on the older Honda CG125 brought new depth to the word basic. Later Honda CG125 parts include a much better saddle, mirrors, disc rather than drum front brake, plus a 5-speed gearbox instead of just 4 speeds. Newer bikes also benefited from a fuel gauge and an electric starter, with bikes in the mid-90s still only furnished with a slippery kickstart, which can be surprisingly lethal on your shins when it's wet. Replacement parts for newer models are easily sourced, too, with whole non-runners available for a couple of hundred quid. Specs. Engine size 124 cubic centimeters. Engine type 2V, single, 5 gears. Frame type steel tubular cradle. Fuel capacity 13.5 liters. Seat height 781 millimeters. Bike weight 114 kilograms. Front suspension none. Rear suspension preload. Front brake 240 millimeters disc. Rear brake drum. Front tire size 2.75 by 18. Rear tire size 90/90x18. MPG, costs and insurance. Average fuel consumption 95 miles per gallon. Annual road tax £22. Annual service cost £220. New price. Used price. Insurance group 3 of 17. How much to insure? Warranty term 2-year unlimited mileage. Top speed and performance. Max power 11 brake horsepower. Max torque 7 ft-lb. Top speed 65 miles per hour. A quarter-mile acceleration 24 seconds. Tank range 280 miles.